Well, hello, Green Room Nation, and welcome to another amazing Saturday night here on The Green Room, brought to you by the New Network. I hope everybody had a wonderful Valentine's Day, full of whatever love may come in all its many forms. But tonight isn't about love, it's about competition, and connection, and camaraderie. But on that note, we have two amazing competitors and one special judge. Our competitors include an Olympic gold medalist and 7 times world champion, Brittney Reese, and WWE Hall of Famer, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. And of course, I said special judge. That is going to be film and TV great Jeremy London. We've had him on the show before, and we are happy to have him back as a special judge. Who will it be? Who's going to move on to round 3? Guess we'll have to see.
Hello everyone, it's Miranda here, and we are back again tonight on TKN's The Grand Debate Tournament, and we are going to have an amazing matchup for you guys. We have Brittney Reese, who is not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7-time Olympic gold medalist. That's right, you heard me. And then we have Brutus the Barber Beefcake, who is a WWE Hall of Famer. Can I get a hell yeah? And then we have a special judge, film and TV great Jeremy London. This night cannot get any better. I know that these two amazing minds are going to have an incredible match with none other than Avi Klein's amazing topics. I can't wait to see what they are. So tune in tonight to find out who moves on to round number 3. Mwah.
Good evening, folks. It is your favorite Green Roomer, Peaceful Pete, and tonight on the Green Room we have another fantastic, amazing night. Special guest judge Jeremy London. We have 7-time gold medal Olympian Brittney Reese taking on Brutus the Barber Beefcake, WWE legend, Hall of Famer. And my prediction is Brittney Reese moves on to round number 3, folks. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Are you guys all ready for tonight's amazing match? We have U.S. Olympic gold medalist and 7-time world champion Brittney Reese taking on WWE Hall of Famer Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Not only that, we have a special celebrity judge for this match in the likes of TV and film great Jeremy London. 2 go in this match, 1 go home. I think tonight we're going to see Brutus advance, and unfortunately see maybe Brittney going home. But we're all going to have to stop and wait and find out later on tonight as we watch this awesome match unfold and see who moves on to round number 3. See yous all there.
Hey guys, it's your boy Stevie Ray. Here again for another edition of TKN Celebrity Tournament. Now, the combatants that we have today. Heavyweights, 2nd round. Somebody's going down. And who I think it will be is number 1. Brittney Reese, 7-time world champion. Heavyweights, you know her. WWE Hall of Famer number 2, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Very good friend of mine, who I was inducted into the Hall of Fame the same night he was. And I think Mr. Brutus the Barber Beefcake, a very astute man, he will move forward. That's right. Don't sing it. Just bring it. Peace.
This is different. This is magnificent, man. And I like this. I enjoyed myself to the fullest, and I can't wait to come back on. I can't wait to see it, see more of the people on here. And
it's also wonderful to hear people talk sanely to each other.
You have something amazing going with this show because you're there and you're educating us.
I mean, yes, pain is inevitable. I mean, there's a reason we have these sensors in our body. I mean, they're warning signs. In other words, something hurts. Obviously, something is amiss.
She told me her story again about her and her dad, but she also said, by the way, my father passed away. She's an only child, and she didn't have any family. And she asked me to walk her down the aisle. That's the part that changed.
It's just that cruel moment of when you realize there is no hope. That tears at me, but it doesn't tear at me anymore because there was hope. I hung on just long enough to come out the other side. And here I am. Look at me, all beautiful and stuff.
This thing has drawn me out of myself and thereby drawn me into myself. But I learned a lot. And from you, Avi, I always learned something from you.
Continue to work as hard as you can, because by working, Avi, you will keep yourself busy and get used to the grief.
Another trio of questions, now more underrated. We have Billy D. Williams, Italian men named Skippy, or unicycle.
I'm sorry, Italian men named Skippy. Put me away, Avi. That's
Archie Bunker, the mountain climber, Ralph Cramden, the yoga instructor, or Don Corleone, the computer repair person.
It's clearly an issue with the hard drive.
I'm going to go Don Corleone.
Where I went around, I visited all the adults first in the Stony Brook University Cancer Center, and then I visited the children. And I would say the adults were at least as enthused and joyful to see Santa.
And I got a chance to get to know Joe Weeder. Joe was like a second father to me. He took me under his wing. He introduced me to art. He introduced me to history.
There are those of us who like to venture to the unexplored, to see the beauty in the strange and unknown. Those of us who go out there with a sense of wonder. It's the magic of risking everything for a dream that nobody sees but you.
Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the shadow of the shade. Yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me, unafraid. God, it matters not how straight the gate, how punishment charged the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
I have to remind myself that some birds aren't meant to be caged. Their feathers are just too bright. And when they fly away, the part of you that knows it was a sin to lock them up does rejoice. Let me tell you about a voice. The one that whispers. It tells me what's right and what's not, when to leave and where to go. It's not Shakespeare. It does not speak in memorable lines. My inner voice always gives it to me straight. Tells me who my real friends are. When to say yes, when to say no. Whether the person sitting next to me is the one I'll be spending the rest of my life with.
You already know that dedication, hard work, and perseverance gives positive results.
Let your instincts guide you. What would you do if you weren't an actor? If you didn't make it as an actor, what would you do? I have no idea. I would act somewhere, because I'll die if I don't.
A blast. I want to dance with somebody.
There we go.
I'll do it.
I do too right now, guys and gals. And you know,
but I was going, Tom, Don, I'm a true fan. Yo, I never watched all of your movies through, Tom, because they scared the crap out of me. Love y'all, man.
Pleasure. Great to meet you. It's great to meet you too, Trent.
Yeah, Avi, you did a great job.
Hi, I'm Rick Barry, a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame and one of the NBA's top 50 players. And I'm really excited to tell you about my new relationship in the broadcasting world with the new network.
It's TKN, and a young man named Avi Klein has poured his blood, sweat, and tears into creating this new network and assembling an amazing group of individuals to co-host shows with him.
Legends from every walk of life who are just bringing their knowledge and their experience and their wisdom, and this is amazing. I feel like this is a cosmic convergence of what is most important to him, and he's such a stand-up guy.
Here, but with a very warm heart for Avi, and thanking him for all the work he's put into creating the new network. For me, I have just a teeny part of this in terms of having a program that's based on storytelling, where I get to share some of my stories with you.
I can't even imagine how hard Avi Klein worked. He tells me he gets 4 hours of sleep a day, and I actually believe that, because Avi is so passionate, he works so hard.
There is nothing that was on TV tonight that even remotely rivals what we did on this broadcast.
I am so grateful for our friendship. And you know what? You appreciate things in people that make such a difference. You make each of us feel like we're more than we know how to even thank you. Anyway.
He's very respectful, and he really connects with the artists and his audiences, and I felt like this guy's on to something, and I'm proud to be a part of this with him.
And I really thank your support. I lost my father, and you were the first person to support me and all that, and I thank you so much for that.
Avi, congratulations. I don't know anybody that can talk as much as you. Seriously, I thought I could talk. You are unreal. What you do it with class, understanding, professionalism. You're simply amazing. I told you that when I first met you, and you ran off my autobiography. It basically was a book. It was simply fantastic. And to think that you do that every show.
Greatest wealth is when you can share it with someone. You can share your victories, you can share your failure, you can express your deepest feelings, but the greatest wealth is to be able to say that I have a friend, and I feel an unbelievable level of wealth, and a lot of that is because I have somebody like you.
last name Ventura, first name Jesse.
I'll tell you this, Avi, you definitely do your homework.
John Amos.
Man, what an introduction. I hope I can live up to that. God bless you.
I hope you're getting paid a lot. That was the greatest intro I think I've ever had.
So I'm highly impressed. So I would give this a very high A.
Well, thank you very much. I can't think of a better way to begin the new year than with you.
Avi, always great to hear your voice, kid, and to hear your intros. You're amazing.
Last name Davidson, first name Tommy.
Nice. I think that's the best intro I've ever had.
Did you have a nice time tonight in the green room?
I had a great time. I can't tell you how refreshing it is that somebody knows what they're doing.
Avi is a poet, but he doesn't know it, but his feet show it.
You're unbelievable.
Winning it all, competitive juices, are they all there, Joe?
Man, the competitive juices don't stop.
Oh, are you here to win the whole darn tournament?
I don't play. I just win.
You're chomping at the bit to get in this thing.
Oh yeah, man. I've been telling you, brother. You brought up some names to me, and I was like, I can't wait. I hope they don't see me because it's gonna be on like a steaming pot of neck bones, baby. And I'm not playing.
Mike, I gotta ask you the golden question. Are you here to win the entire thing, my friend?
I'll just say this, Avi. Winner, chicken dinner.
But are you here to win the entire celebrity tournament when it's all said and done?
I saw a very familiar face in Mike Rotundo, better known as IRS, and he said that he was here for the winner chicken dinner, and I want to take away that chicken dinner. So yes, I want to win this whole shebang.
First name Joe Smith. Welcome, my friend.
Oh my God, Avi! Where did you get all of that from? Oh my God!
Guys and gals and pals, as you have come to know, industrial-sized air conditioners at your favorite B&B in Alaska would be rendered obsolete after witnessing that intro because we're all fired up. That much is a fact. You witnessed Luminary enter this virtual arena. Indeed, this tournament is quite stacked. I dubbed this Vision of Mine Edutainment because I place passion about everyone's vocation. And this format is anything but the same old, so I thank you for embracing the innovation and expressing your constellation when taken to the most star-studded tournament of all, a place where competitors convey their level of admiration while we marvel at the information, passion, and perspiration while observing this wide array of talent that make up the population of strong-minded thinkers that enlighten us, which is why I subscribe to conversation, because listening and applying is how we get to our destination. We're all so much closer than we are apart, which is why this show offers a demonstration of what's right about us as a society. So for the new viewers out there who have a fascination, sit back and enjoy as I put a cap right now on this verbal dissertation. If Sunday mornings, guys and gals, are like coffee, Fridays are martinis, and Saturday nights right here on TKN will make sure that you're creatively nourished and full like a big old bottle of Red Bull. We avoid the profane. We never complain because positivity epitomizes gain when one is looking to remain in a plane where they refrain from the negativity because that word is quite the drain. So escape the mundane and allow us to entertain like a night out listening to one Mr. Newton, first name Wayne. The point is, guys and gals, we're all aiming high at the same place. They call it success indeed. Don't spurt your way on your way towards achievement. It's about efficiency and consistency, never the speed. This tournament provides what I dub competitive camaraderie. So if you want controversy, go away. I subscribe to conversation over controversy. That will always be my way. Be open to development because human growth and ensemble go hand in hand as authenticity is meant to last. Take this experience, which is philosophical fun. It's an event, a sport of the mind. This isn't a podcast. This is edutainment personified that offers an ambitious alternative in the digital sphere. We aren't the norm because salaciousness and controversy don't belong here. You don't need to live in hell in order to embrace the warm. So smile at your neighbor, promote positivity, and never apologize for your passion. Here on the network, it's quite evident that compassion is what's in fashion. I subscribe to conversation over controversy, so let's keep doing what we do and realize that our motto isn't some Sherlock Holmes history. A legendary director of Superman fame, my mentor, told me years ago, write your own history. Teaching history and screenwriting for the best was one thing. Sharing your history is an honor. That mentor lives in my heart daily. His name is Richard Donner. So sit back and realize what we've witnessed here in this tournament. Oh, so grand. We're 137 Hall of Famers and Hollywood Award winners and nominees own this land as we discover and rediscover our humanity through open dialogue, and we expand. So be prepared to give a hand to competitors that are about to work their sweat gland. All the while, guys and gals, our attention they command. It's my honor to present these wonderful men and women who don't see themselves as merely a luminary. It's a pleasure telling their life story. So guys and gals, biographically, I will condense it with rhymes and a melody. With 15 grand and a 5-day, 5-night trip to Greece on the line, one can't forget about the pride and the prize. So with that, let's all rise and reprise our roles as educational voyeurs that never chastise or agonize, but rather we revel in our beautiful reality without needing a disguise. Here on this network, we're allergic to lies. The bard, Mr. Shakespeare, once said it's not in the stars to hold our destiny, but it's in ourselves. So if you love something, don't hate others that do, because doing is a sweet nectar that's most rewarding. Take a moment to breathe, admire your desire to aspire, because if you don't, life will be but a blur. Of this I'm sure, so never hate the flower for starting out as a seed. Long distance running's essential. This isn't a stampede, so don't run anyone over on your way to the top. Focus on yourself and never forget to cheerlead. Root for your loved ones and lift people up, because this fortune cookie right now named Avi Klein, hopes that we've all agreed that positivity is something we can never concede. So with that, let's bring in our special judge right now, guys. As you know, Brittney Reese, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, champions, greats, legends, Hall of Famers. We'll move on to round number 3 in this tournament, and there will be one that wins it all. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new ones. The true secret of happiness lies in taking a genuine interest in all the details of our life. And if these sentiments apply to tonight's special judge, it's because to know him is to see his heart. In a world filled with questions, it's comforting to know that there are simple answers when it comes to certain people. For instance, this man's honesty, check. His integrity, check. His word, check. His passion and compassion, check. There are no questions when it comes to all the above because he's a quality human being and a dear friend. His courage is consistent. You can rely on it like a Rick Barry free throw. Helping kids who've been bullied in his canvas, more beautiful than any Van Gogh. He's in the 3rd round right now of the star-studded tournament where he'll be sure to bring the gusto. All of you watching always bring up his name, and rightly so. He's a friend, and I appreciate him fully, as his class is something we always see him bestow. He's sincere and genuine. He can make you laugh like a mid-90s Ray Romano. They know his name from around the world, from Glasgow to Monaco to Kosovo to Moscow. Even in the wintertime, his smile can melt the snow. So why don't you give all guys and gals a hand right now to a man while you grab a gyro and a glass of Merlot. That may not be good as a combo, but regardless, I can tell you, you're all feeling quite gun-ho, as his impact is quite the presence, like Arnold kicking butt in Commando. Who am I bringing in? A man that ushers in the glee. So welcome a kind, humble, genuine, amazing human being, co-host, and dear friend. Last name, London. First name, Jeremy. Welcome, my good friend.
Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Man. That's just like a shot of adrenaline every time.
Man, it's you're wonderful. A shot of adrenaline. And I mean that in the best way because your adrenaline comes in the form of information, depth. I like the word depth when I think of you. I always like to attach words because we're living in the soundbite era. But like if I had to take a word and condense it, there are so many, but I think of the word depth. I would attach that to you because you don't shortchange anybody.
That's very kind. I just try to approach people the way that I like to be approached. I don't put in anything other than I don't expect anything from other people that I don't, I guess, hold myself to the standard. And so and I just enjoy this platform and an opportunity to actually get to mind meld with people on such a positive platform and such a positive opportunity, and it's such an opportunity to get to because my lady, she doesn't care about my stuff that I think about and delve into. I'm an animal of I need information, so I'm constant. Yes. All I watch is documentaries and just information. And
Jeremy, if anyone understands how this wacky industry runs, it's you. You've been there longer than I have. I've been there for 21 years straight. I wanted 3. You and I are close friends behind the scenes. The work that you do in front of the camera, the work you do behind the scenes as a teacher as well. Our show From London to You, which educates people, that's coming up next as well. I am so proud to share that news with you, my friend.
Man, that is fantastic. Wow. Well, it's, Avi, you're the driving force behind all of that, and you're the reason that's happening. We are all blessed and lucky to be a part of this, to be caught in this net that you cast out, and you caught just this incredible group of people, and everybody seems to, it's like the mutual admiration society, and everybody's excited to meet everybody, and I love just mixing it up with folks.
I do, and that's another cool reason to be in round number 3 as you are mixing it up with more folks.
It's so much fun.
Jeremy, I have to ask you the question. Everybody always wants to know this too, though. But at the end of the day, it'd be pretty cool to get $15,000 in a 5-day trip to Greece when it's all said and done.
It would. I'm in this to win because just like everybody else, you want to win. For me, this is the way that I am in general. I don't necessarily want to win for me. I want to win because I want to be able to take my lady to Greece and show her the world a little bit. She's rarely been outside of Mississippi.
Yes,
we made it to Niagara Falls, and we got engaged there. But I would just love for her because I think when you can touch it and feel it and see it and you're there, she'll understand why I'm obsessed with history and why I'm obsessed with knowing these things and adventure and travel and I think that, because she's been so hyper focused on just being a mom and a grandmother and just hard worker her whole life. She's been on her own since she's 13. And so, I've been blessed with being an actor and being able to travel the world and all of that stuff. So my eyes have been opened and I understand the value of all that. And so for that reason, I want to destroy everybody.
Man, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a blast. You and Matt Fink were on during round number 2. Brittney Reese, my friend, if you can unmute your microphone, I'm about to bring you in first. And then I'm going to bring in Mr. Beefcake because we're ready to bring them in. Guys, I'm going to wait for Brutus there in the back. Jeremy, before I wait for Mr. Beefcake to sit back down, because again, this is a man that needs no introduction. Brittney is a woman who needs no introduction. What I want to bring up is how we've been able to get the person behind the persona. That's what it's all about. You're as real comes. I think it's fascinating to be able to see someone you admired on screen and then realize that you actually like the person even more than any character that they portrayed. Am I right?
I think that's been the best part of all of this, getting to see people in just like this real raw element without actually putting on, feeling like you have to put on any other thing. It's really amazing to have a mind meld with a professional wrestler. When am I going to get an opportunity to do that? And
I love showcasing that,
and to find out that they're actually really intelligent. You know what I mean?
Supremely intelligent. Yes,
it's amazing because we can people fit prototypes and stuff like that.
Yes,
and you can think that somebody might be something other than. But I found that the athletes in this platform and this thing are incredibly intelligent, and they're connected 100%. and their communication skills are wonderful and all of this stuff, and just it's been enlightening, and
that's kind of one of my objectives. I want to take that paintbrush and show people that there's more to people than meets the eye. It's about the person behind the persona. That's why we call this tournament a sport of the mind. There is competitive camaraderie. There's nothing wrong with that, but strangers walk away as friends while we have philosophical fun. We marry entertainment, education, and we get edutainment. You're a big part of that, my friend. You're thoughtful for recognizing what you just said, and that means a lot to me. I'm going to bring in Brittney right now and bring you right back in as soon as Brutus Beefcake is on screen.
Yes. This is going to be wonderful. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, my friend. Jeremy is so many things, guys. An artist, a chef, a historian, a teacher, a storyteller, but more important to me, a brother and a friend who's helped many nights and days. Yours truly. Guys and gals, I want to bring in right now our very first competitor, who is one hell of an athlete, but also a friend and someone who is very kind and gives back to the youth. Guys and gals and pals, a 7-time world champion indeed. So a champion, speaking of champions, they're afraid of losing. A lot of people are afraid of winning. I have a great deal of respect for my next guest. She's class personified. She's down to earth. She's genuine. She's eloquent, intelligent, and she has a kind heart as well. She reminds us that it's not a race against anyone else, but rather the real journey is only against yourself and your unrealized potential, because you have no idea what you're capable of until you test your limits.
And I'm very honored, but I know the importance of people who saw the potential in me as a young girl that I did not know that I had. And I said to myself, if I continue running, if I can improve 1/10 of a second, if I'm running, or 1/2 of an inch if I'm jumping, that meant the work that I was doing was paying off. I told him, I said, if God blessed me to make another Olympic team, I want to be the toughest athlete out there mentally, because physically, I know I could do it. And it takes the total package in. And that was my mindset. The leg can fall off. I won't, they have to come pick me up. I'm gonna give my all. And I think that was the difference. A role model has always just been a part of my existence, to try to be a positive role model, to try to convey a positive message, and to give someone a helping hand whenever I could, or I saw somebody down, try to lift them up. I always take it back to the people who believed in me, who saw the potential that I did not know that I had, but I continued to grind and stay with it.
If you want to make yourself go with track and field, if you want to rely on other people, stick with basketball. So I got tired of relying on other people, and I chose track and field. So,
some of the things that I went through, far as in life in general, some of the things that I went through, sport-wise, injuries, mental illness, all types of things like that. Sport-wise, I feel that if I was to get my story out and have a documentary, I'll be able to reach young athletes, young girls that are up and coming in different sports, that are up and coming in life.
100%, guys and gals and pals. To know her is to appreciate her and what she stands for. So let's bring her in right now. She places emphasis on the value of helping others, even as we take our roses on a grand old stage. She had a competitive spirit early on, as she had no problem defeating the boys time and time again. Her limitless accomplishments inserted into a bio would put a strain on just about any pen. Her sister Brandy would challenge her to see who would get more blue ribbons the day before field day. As Brandy would find out, much to her dismay, not many competing against her sister would chant hooray, as very few would defeat her in the nick of time. How fitting a cliche. She played basketball from the age of about 10 and could not have easily played at a 4-year college. She could have done it. She could have had a WNBA career. That's how great she was getting ready for college. Did fate step in? Perhaps, but maybe in the form of her mother, Carla, who has a ton of knowledge. She strongly believed that her middle child could better control her destiny as a jumper and a runner. She was spot on as soon as her daughter would have more impact than a stone-cold Steve Austin stunner. Although she could dunk a ball at 5'8" and had dreams of playing in the WNBA, she had to decide between basketball or track. How many times was that something she'd flash back, as she had a knack to pack the very best in her toolbox, as she wouldn't merely settle for a plaque because she doesn't even know the meaning of the word slack. All of it began back in the 11th grade. Over what? Yeah, a bottle of Coke. Thankfully, that was the only thing at stake, because if money was on the line, everybody would wind up broke. And although no one would provoke, guys, give me a second so that I can evoke. Her track coach wondered who would do the long jump pit and jump the longest. After refusing, he relented, since she was already running the 400 millimeter, as she was the strongest. When it comes to the long and triple jump, she became state champion while attending Gulfport High. While the rest of us gaze above, she can visit the sky, not only due to her ability to fly, but rather soar to heights unknown, as it isn't hard to identify her work ethic, grace, and talent, as there's nothing she can't defy. So big props to her high school coach, Prince Jones, because she started out as a sprinter, but he was the one who introduced her to the long jump. Since then, we've seen her excel and thrive and never hit a wall or slump. Her accolades are mind-boggling. 2 NCAA championships at Ole Miss, 13 U.S. championships, and guys and gals, 7 world championships. Did I leave something out? Of course, it's no mystery. Silver medals at the 2016 and 2021 Olympic Games and the gold in 2012 solidifies her place in history. Her first sporting hero was Jackie Joyner-Kersee for her passion and drive to compete. She made her proud, as many smiles would be produced. She would then greet those less fortunate who were once privy to defeat. You see, one thing that should never get overlooked is her dedication to philanthropy, as she was the recipient of the Emerging Young Philanthropist Award. That's what I see when I read the scoreboard. Her ability to have faith restored in the hearts of many that have been ignored. Her humility is as genuine as she is. From her first ever hand-me-down car, which was a 97 Oldsmobile Bravada, to her millions of fans, including my ex-Elizabeth out in Nevada, let's bring out someone who's not only a legend and one of the all-time greats, but someone who's about a positive energy and peace. And as these rhymes cease, there's no doubt she wants to win this all and go to Greece. So put your hands together for a classy, kind human being. First name Brittney, last name Reese. Welcome, my friend. Round number 2, my friend.
Yeah. Thank you, Avi. Thank you. Always a great introduction. I always love to hear it, especially when it brings my mentor along, Jackie Joyner-Kersee, who basically was a big person that helped me with my career.
I remember you told me that. Told me that. And now you're giving it back. The first thing I'll ask you is, I'm going to bring Brutus Beefcake right now. I want to ask you this before the Grease question. Is it as important for you to give back to kids the way you do in abundance, because you give it back and people should know? Is that more of an accomplishment than any gold medal you've won?
It really is. It's actually, my grandma was the person that, before I even got to the person that I am today, she said, never forget where you came from. And that has always stuck with me. And I'm still doing stuff to this day.
You are, and you're humble about it. You have a very humble approach, and I appreciate that. You have a spirit of the champion, but you retain your humanity. And that's what I really love, is that, again, in this industry, sometimes you meet people, they smile at you, but, the people in this tournament, including yourself, they're genuine. And I want to be able to showcase that part of you, the human side that people don't see, because you got to eat your Cheerios just like I do. You got to put your sneakers on like everybody else. And, never should anyone in the public eye be put under such scrutiny or be judged. You're incredible. You're in round number 2, looking to get into round number 3, which is the halfway mark of this tournament. Are you here to win it all, my friend?
Oh, most definitely. I've been able to travel the world for 13 plus years. I've never been to Greece. So this is a perfect time for me to go to Greece. So I'm in it to win it.
I love it. I love it. Brittney Reese, guys, gracing us with her presence. I'm going to put you backstage for a moment and bring Brutus Beefcake in.
Nice.
Thank you, Brittney. Guys, Brittney Reese is a champion, class personified, and so is our next participant. Had him on last year during round number 1, and it was a blast talking to him behind the scenes. It was a blast talking to him, Missy as well. Guys and gals, this man, even right now, he's so busy. He's the Boca Raton Championship Wrestling Commissioner. I mean, think about that for a second. But his resume is enough to make you go, wow, guys and gals, because this guy was the highlight in the world of pro wrestling when pro wrestling reached its boom, its apex. He was there. Not only was he there, he was one of the top guys, but what he gives back, what he's done for kids, what he's done for the underprivileged, he's an amazing human being, and I'm glad you guys can be able to see that right now. So guys and gals and pals, I want to bring him in right now and remind everyone that the bard Mr. Shakespeare said, "This above all, to thine own self be true." Giving. I just brought that up. What a concept, giving. Can you imagine being surrounded by people that give, that radiate truth, that love, that have authenticity? Well, our next participant this evening thrives because he radiates the type of energy that's conducive to success, and he succeeded. His stars are aligned not solely due to his unbelievable resume, but in large part to his outlook. His level of authenticity is not only refreshing, but it's appreciated. He's humble, and he puts everyone near him at ease. And I applaud him for his approach to life, and I marvel at the fact that he's not only setting goals, but he attains them as well, due to his skill set, due to his mindset, due to his commitment, and due to his heart.
You did something that no one else had the guts to do. You want to leave some footprints, you know, on the canvas of life. And pass it on. But that first one, the guy that went into the unknown, unprepared, but prepared mentally, and voice your own opinion, even though it's not a popular one, but it's one that you feel so deep in your soul that you have to get it out. Courage. You all have it. It's just pushing the right button.
I got so many friends who are not with us today. They didn't know their limitations, and it takes a lot out of you. But you got to keep your eye on the prize, and the prize is, making that heart, building that heart, making that heart, solid, making it good, and loving yourself, and loving God, and loving your fellow man.
You saw that, guys and gals, authenticity. That's something that pops on screen. There's no doubt about that. That's Brutus Beefcake, guys and gals and pals. This human being's a man that is all about resiliency as he knows how to overcome. I'm happy to bring up his accolades in heart. I definitely won't be mum. He was one of 5 children. His father worked for the post office. His mom, guys and gals and pals, was a nurse. 3 of his sisters in one room. He and his brother in another. But you know who had a plan for him? That would be the universe. He played Little League and was a baseball fanatic, but his older sister would soon change his entire life's trajectory in a big, big way. She took him to the wrestling matches at Fort Hesterly Armory in the balcony. Soon, he'd have his own legion of fans who would pay. What a scene it was in Tampa. As a bouncer at the Anchor Club, when Steppenwolf packed the place, no one was out of line. Working in landscaping, driving a tractor and forklift for $5 an hour, soon the stars would align, as a phone call would prove to be divine, as he would soon hit the shoreline. Whitey Bridges hooked him up with the torches, an electric welding machine. He built his own gym equipment, and between being lean and devouring the protein, he transformed his body. And next up, Bob Roop called Jim Barnett as his new journey was upon him. Tagging up with Ron Slinker against Ox Baker and Eric the Red was only the beginning. Soon he would thrive and excel and say goodbye to the prelim. Main events were in store for this legend as fans would chant his name aloud from Romania to Albania. He was one of the most featured stars in the inaugural WrestleMania. He starred in 6 more Manias, Guys and Gals and Pals, and was one of the biggest stars when pro wrestling was absolutely huge. In the summer of 1990, life took a turn for him as fate would become quite the Scrooge. It didn't matter. He overcame it. A parasailing accident, over 100 feet of wire, 32 screws were required to construct a new face. But through an inner will and eternal dedication unmatched, he would showcase his courage, and rather than race, he would defy logic and excel once more, regardless of the promotion or place. He's made many sick children smile with his huge heart. He's class personified, make no mistake. So let's all partake in a warm ovation to a WWE Hall of Famer and legend. First name Brutus, last name Beefcake. Welcome, my friend, to round number 2.
Holy cow. Avi?
Yes, sir.
You got my head spinning from that, from your introduction. And then you just kept going. I mean, my brains, you just scrambled my whole friggin' thing.
Brother, you
I don't even know what to say. I can't. Holy cow.
Oh.
It's gonna take me 5 or 10 minutes just to get my brains unscrambled from that.
And it's still not enough because you and Brittney and Jeremy, you guys, again, have done so much. Think about this for a second. Hall of Fame career, Hall of Fame human being that gives back behind the scenes. When you interweave those two things together, I could have gone all night into 2026 applauding you and everybody else. You deserve it, brother. I really, you are an awesome human being. There's no doubt about it. Well, I got to say this. Go ahead, please.
I know. I would say I try to remember how delicate, how fast life goes by and how quick it can be over, and try to hang on to some of those moments.
Sure.
And remember, to try to remember how grateful that I am for those moments and try to hang on to them.
I really want people to know this because you don't ask. I just want to bring this up because there's a website, and I'm going to bring this up a lot. BrutusBeefcake.com, guys, not just for merch. Merch from a man who survived and showed you through his testimony, through his perseverance, that you can overcome anything. This man had a parasailing accident in 1990. If I'm not mistaken, July the 4th of 1990 in Florida. And what he did to overcome, not only get back in the ring, but to give his fans back, to give everything he could, despite the fact that people said he wouldn't live. Forget about pro wrestling. This man was literally against the odds when it came to living a life. He overcame that through sheer will and dedication. And Brutus, the same question that I asked to Brittney, I'll ask you. Isn't it much more rewarding when you see a smile on a kid's face and said, you really inspired me? Absolutely.
Absolutely. I've been fortunate enough to go to some schools to talk to some troubled kids.
Sure.
My sister's, one of her best friends is a principal in a local high school here in Florida. And they had students in this junior high school that had been in jail for rape, for murder, for drug abuse. This is a junior high school, okay?
Wow.
And I came in and talked to him, and the principal said, I really don't see what good this is going to do, but we're going to let it happen. And I spoke to those kids and connected with these kids, and they had an assignment was to write up something about that day when I visited them. And some of the students had never completed a single assignment since they'd been in the school. And those kids turned in this assignment, and the principal was so blown away.
Yeah.
She goes, I don't know, your brother is something else. Because these young kids were able to connect with him, and he really made a difference to some of these.
You know what I love about that story? I love that because if they were older, of course, there's a demographic of people who remember the legends. But to know that you connected with kids who weren't watching wrestling back then, they knew you. They knew you. You connected with people as the person that you are, and that says a lot.
Yeah, well, it
really does. That's special, man. That really is. I used to teach U.S. history. I left it behind, as our viewers know, because I couldn't teach the right way. Here's a little funny story for you. I was writing a Do Now about Frederick Douglass. And my AP, my assistant principal, walks in and says, Avi, you misspelled Douglas's last name. You put 2 S's. I went, Jesus. If the administration have no idea about our historical figures, Diane Nash, a freedom writer, walks into the room. I introduce her to one of the original freedom writers. I introduce her to the AP. The AP goes, hi. And she goes, hi, I'm Diane Nash. I was a freedom writer. And she goes, nice to meet you. And brushes her off. I'm thinking to myself, now these spoiled kids are becoming spoiled adults not to get on the soapbox, and they become our educators right now. That's scary. That really is. It's unbelievable. But they've got you to visit them in schools, and I'm glad. I'm glad that you can really cheer people up the way you do. And guys, Brutus is going to educate us right now, and so will Brittney. I'm going to bring them in. I'm going to bring in Jeremy right now as well on screen. Everybody's going to get on here because I'm going to introduce topic number 1 of just slugging away, and we're bringing on something that's innovative. How cool would it be to be the one person out of 137 Hall of Famers and luminaries to be standing atop that mountain saying, I won this whole thing?
Unbelievable. That would be a huge honor. And, well, we'll just have to wait and see.
I love it. I love it. I appreciate it, guys and gals. I appreciate Brutus, Beefcake, Jeremy London, and Brittney Reese. Here's topic number 1. I'm going to start off with Brittney. Rebuttals are optional. If you want to rebut, index finger could go up. Brutus can rebut if he wants. I'll hop in and make it official. He can rebut anytime Brittney speaks. If he chooses to, it's optional. That is not just a reason, guys and gals, to stay engaged, but topic number 1 is about a reason for the season. Because philosophy is what it's all about. It translates to the love of wisdom, literally. So in the spirit of inquiry, that's what defines us as people. We have questions. We all want answers. We argue for things we believe in. We argue for things against we object to. That's human nature. That's philosophy. And since the dawn of our species, we've done everything from inventing the motion picture to sending people to the moon. It might seem like that's something our ancestors wouldn't have envisioned, but they did, which is why we were able to do the following things. Let's start with Brittney, guys and gals and pals. She'll tackle this because topic number 1's a doozy. It's about the Enlightenment era. The Enlightenment. It was a philosophical movement in Europe during the 18th century. And it was characterized by the idea that reason is the primary source of authority and legitimacy. Brittney, if you could go back in time and transport 3 historical figures to present day 2025 and have them focus on 3 separate areas that can help mankind, who would you bring back and why? The 3 areas that these 3 historical figures would focus on are a fair society, reason, which is the use of reason and rationalism when making important decisions, and the third is toleration and fraternity, meaning all individuals work together towards a common goal. So you're selecting 1 historical figure for each of the above areas. Please take your time explaining why you selected who you have and why. My friend, the floor is yours.
All right. So when I was going through this, I was a little confused, but then I figured out what it was. I took a philosophy class when I was at Ole Miss. So for a fair society, I came up with Mary Wollstonecraft, and basically she was the first woman feminist. And reason why I went with her because she advocated for women's rights, and she wanted women to be equal as men. So for me, she wanted to be fair, everything to be fair. And what came to mind, and the reason why I would put her in today's society is not getting all political, but we just had a presidency and we had a woman run and we had a male run, and the male ended up winning. Now I just feel like that kind of played a part because a lot of the world probably is not ready for a female presidency. Another reason I was thinking about her was a lot of decisions are being made about women. Abortions and things like that, and it could get out of hand to where it seems like women are not being created equally. Still to this day, we have that with money, getting paid different wages and things like that. So for me, Mary Wollstonecraft would be a perfect person in order to bring society to where men and women are created equal, and we don't have to where money will be an issue, how much you get paid versus a male and versus a female. So for me, that would be the reason why I would bring her back. Far as reason, I said Voltaire, and the reason why I put him was because he advocated for religious tolerance and belief in the importance of individuals from diverse backgrounds coexisting peacefully. So he was more so the right of freedom of speech, right of religious tolerance, and he wanted to separate church and religion. Religion and state, my bad, religion and state. So I feel like for him, he might have played a big role here, just getting the freedom of speech to be what it is, religious tolerance, and have people think more for themselves versus thinking of what other people might think. And we just start using, and then we don't use religion to control the world. And And another thing that he liked to do, he liked to promote education and the freedom of press. So for me, promoting education, I feel like it's more important right now because I'm a teacher. I teach at my local high school in Gulfport, Mississippi. So I see every day where these kids, how the kids are, and how Mississippi as a state are really kind of poor in education when we shouldn't be. And we have some great kids, not even just in sports, but we have great smart kids. A lot of smart people come out of Mississippi, and I feel like that kind of gets lost. And so for me, it would be more so Voltaire. So I was confused on him because Voltaire could also be with the next question, tolerance and fraternity, because they're kind of the same thing. So for me, tolerance and fraternity, I decided to go with Dennis Diderot. And he basically was the person that, the editor of the encyclopedia. And for him, I put him in there because it was the power of, he used the power of education to unify people, enable them to work together for a common goal. And also he advocated for social cooperation, and where we were breaking down barriers caused by ignorance and authoritarianism. And for me, with him, he also saw that knowledge and reason as a tool to foster fraternity among individuals, regardless of class or religion. And he worked tirelessly to make knowledge accessible to all. So, which is why he made this idea, kind of. And also his vision, I kind of agreed on his vision to make a commitment to a society where we collaborate and tolerate. With tolerance, we could lead to collective progress. So those three people, I feel like Voltaire and Dennis Diderot could kind of like switch. If I could have put him as reason, and I could have put Voltaire as toleration and fraternity. But I felt like where I put them was pretty good. But they both kind of the same people, and they work together. So, but those are my three.
Of those picks, absolutely. I did see Jeremy light up a little bit when you brought up Mississippi. Jeremy?
I am.
I live in Madison, Mississippi, dog.
Really?
I'm right up the road, baby.
You are.
I am, and it was good to hear you. I'm glad to know that Mississippi had that you got Mississippi's back. You know, I think that the education system here specifically is one of the most abused and least funded properly, you know, aspects of this wonderful state. I do love this state.
Yes.
But when you said Ole Miss and Gulfport, my eye did light up a little bit because I was like, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yep.
I'm right up the road, baby. So that was
right
very
there.
Cool.
And of course, Brutus, I mean, what the fans don't know, before I kick it over to you, unofficially, I'll bring something up that the fans may not be privy to. Even though you guys had no off season and traveled everywhere, people seem to forget that a lot of times it was lather, rinse, repeat. You're not really seeing these places. You're seeing a gym. If you're lucky, you're seeing a Denny's at 2 a.m. or something, or a Waffle House. And then you're getting to the show, to the town. Then it's lather, rinse, repeat all over again. Am I right?
Yep, that's the way it worked. At least it did for me. The gym was something very important that I wouldn't be here today if it wouldn't have been for my devotion to sticking with that and getting to the gym. Instead of going to eat, instead of getting some extra sleep, just, you know, getting
routine, right?
Sure, absolutely. Guys, I'm going to ask Brutus the same question. We'll get through this, but I do want to bring up Voltaire. You brought up Voltaire. His works were banned, and I'm glad you brought up his name and I can't wait to see what Brutus brings up, because this man was literally, I mean, he made coffee nervous because he was up about 18 hours a day, and he drank about as many as 40 cups of Java a day just to do his work. And he was one of those people that influenced a lot of others, but his work was canceled. We have a lot of in-between moments between these topics. Let's learn and let's be able to kind of have this approach here, because you guys bring so much to the table. Is there right now a scare when it comes to, and again, Jeremy could jump in, Brutus, Brittney, is there a scare when it comes to entertainment, education of all forms being canceled without being dissected first? Would you prefer dissecting it before canceling it, or just canceling it immediately? That's a general question, but what are your thoughts when you hear that?
Oh, I think we're at the precipice right now. I think we're at the sort of most dangerous times in all of our lives, maybe in as far as there being a revelation of realizing that the uneducated are way more easy to manipulate. And and I feel like those sources of education are slowly going to be cut off bit by bit as the forces that be try to take more control or whatever.
I want to agree, Jeremy. It's sometimes, and this is just to play devil's advocate. And Brutus and Brittney, please jump in if you want to. Sometimes a lot of people make it about blue versus red. You brought up powers that be. You brought up the 1%ers, the people who actually run the world. The people who've been talking about one world currency. There's the Bilderberg meetings, which people don't talk about as much. There's so much activity behind the scenes. Don't you agree that regardless of who's at the helm, whether it was a Jimmy Carter, who we just lost recently, who was inserted into office in 76 because nobody trusted their government anymore. They wanted a peanut farmer from Georgia they could relate to. But then what happens? In 79, Iran doesn't want to negotiate with him. Reagan, of course, does his own little coup d'etat there at the end. But think about what happened. We had 5 presidents who preceded him who couldn't solve or figure out Vietnam, right? You had Kennedy in 63, the dividing line. We know he gets assassinated. 64, there's a coup d'etat because Khrushchev gets thrown out of office as well. And then, of course, LBJ gets the memo. We knew that his neighbor was Hoover, so he obviously doubled down on Vietnam, but he didn't run in 68. Nixon made the greatest comeback of all time, and people talk Watergate, but they forgot what he did economically for the country and even foreign policy-wise by brokering deals with China. But then Watergate happens, and then Gerald Ford, not just a placeholder, but we know about that Warren Commission he was tied up with, which was a farce. Then enter Jimmy Carter in 76. All of a sudden, we got someone that we can relate to. Is that what we've come down to? Is it just voting for somebody that we can relate to, or do people give a shit about the policies?
Oh, it's about media control over what people are ingesting. Unfortunately, people are reacting to the fear that they're being bombarded with, and when you're being scared on a daily basis by be afraid of everything that really doesn't have anything to do with you, then you become incredibly defensive and worried and scared. And then, the same people that are scaring you are the ones that are telling you they can fix it. And so it's the same psychology that's being used today that people figured out a long time ago whenever they started figuring out how to use religion to manipulate people. You scare people, and then that's how you control people, and it's the same thing. And smart people are a lot harder to control than uneducated people. Whenever
you have to admit, we don't need whether it's podcasters that the right targeted or celebrities that the left targeted. You're right. People are way smarter to be able to invest their thoughts and their principles in the hands of a podcaster or a celebrity. They can make their own decisions at the end of the day, right?
I mean, Mao Zedong got rid of the first thing he did was get rid of all of the people who wore glasses, because they were apparently they're the ones that looked smart, or they were the ones that read books.
Churchill didn't like those Fu Manchu mustaches. It's true.
Yeah, but you go for the dangerous people are the smart people. Unfortunately,
would you concur with that as well? The people are way smarter than anyone gives them credit for, regardless of who they're voting for.
Well, I don't know. As if we're going by schooling here and smarts, I'm in real trouble here. Because all I have is a high school education, but I did spend 50 years around the wrestling business, traveling the world.
Yeah,
it's the best education in the
world.
Man.
Was my classroom. And by myself, striking out across the world in Japan and Czechoslovakia, Scotland, and here and there and everywhere. And I tell you, it was I wouldn't trade it for anything. Just be able to have that kind of experience.
How do you think that the educational systems of a lot of the other countries that you visited hold up to the education systems in America and the focus? Like whenever I go into Australia, it's It's one of their main things they focus. You know what I mean? Canada. You know how did you what was your experience, Mr.
Australia? And I are old friends, and even Tasmania. Somebody asked me the other day, "What's one of the weirdest places that you could say you ever?" I said, Tasmania, to this gigantic casino and hotel on top of this big green hill.
Sure.
Like,
it's like Oz. It's like going to Oz, right?
I went to see kids in hospitals in Australia, and they were just the most amazing thing ever. They just were so receptive, and it was just my heart was breaking.
Wonderful. They're good people.
Trying to just
I get the vibe, and I could be wrong, Brutus, that you root for people for who they are, not what they represent. Meaning, sometimes we look at our political figures like they're sports teams that we're rooting for instead of individuals and people. And you see the humanity in people. That's what I gather.
Yeah, I try to. That's what it's all about. You know, people, the world, has to learn how to get along again.
Yes, sir.
It has to relearn how to love himself, because you don't love yourself. How do you love your fellow man, your friend, your wife, your son, your daughter? How do you make that possible? You have to love yourself, and that's what Jesus taught us, was to love ourselves and to love him, and through those things, everything else would follow.
I love that. And Brittney, I'm going to kick over to Brutus for topic number 1. But would you concur that right now we're kind of in a situation where people are divided? Maybe people are talking about an upcoming civil war. We don't have an enemy to turn against, a foreign policy enemy. We turn on each other. People forget. Why do we have to wait till September 12th to gather together? Why do we have to wait for a catastrophe to happen for us to gather together? Because we're a lot closer than any powers that be would want us to be. Would you agree?
I would agree. We are living in that time right now where a lot of division is going on, and it shouldn't be that way. We are all one people. We all, especially around here in the United States, we're all one people, and it's kind of crazy right now to see. But I have great hope in what God is in control anyway, and we'll just have to see and wait and see, and hopefully things will get better here, and we all just be one people.
Amen to that. Guys, I'm going to set it up for Mr. Brutus Beefcake. It's the same topic. I'm going to read it out to you guys and gals and pals because I've poured my money, my time, my dedication into this very network. A lot of times I have to write 4 screenplays a month, and sometimes it's very hard to meet those deadlines because what I want to do is celebrate not the celebrity, but celebrate the person that does a lot with their celebrity, and that's Brutus Beefcake, Jeremy London, and Brittney Reese all the way. Guys, same question for Mr. Beefcake. What's that? I'm sorry.
All right. So am I reading the question? Oh, okay.
No, I'll kick it to you. The Enlightenment was a philosophical movement in Europe during the 18th century. Mr. Beefcake, if you could go back in time and transport 3 historical figures to present day 2025 and have them focus on 3 separate areas that can help mankind, who would you bring back and why? The areas are a fair society, reason, toleration, and fraternity. The floor is yours whenever you're ready to go, good sir.
Okay. This probably is going to think I'm crazy, but excuse me, the 16th president of the United States of America was Abraham Lincoln. And he was born in a log cabin in Kentucky and grew up mostly most of his life in Indiana. And Lincoln was the president during the Civil War, which was a horrific time when Americans were killing Americans by the droves, the hundreds of thousands of people dying and stuff. And Abraham Lincoln was actually the first Republican president. He, abolished slavery. So he was a guy that could see the value of human life and tried to explain it to people like, it doesn't matter what color you are, you're brown, you're yellow, you're black, you're white. That matters not. What matters is what's in your head and in your heart and how you treat your fellow man. You have to learn how to treat yourself good first, because you can't treat anybody else good unless you treat yourself good. And then once you learn that, and then you could go out and treat the rest of the world with respect and show them that people deserve to be treated equally and deserve to be treated well. And you can't just judge somebody by the way they look or the way they talk or the way they walk. You have to judge by what's in their hearts. And Lincoln was just so instrumental in our country of beginning. He actually set forth a lot of things that became our real federal government itself, helped to bring about the federal government that was there to help the states and help the people get their acts together and become prosperous. And well, I don't have much more than that on it, but I'm sorry.
No, I want our viewers to know something here, guys. Again, Brutus Beefcake, again, he's here. Under the weather or not, this man is here. He's here to participate in the TKN Celebrity Tournament, the most star-studded tournament of them all, and he's giving us a lot of depth. Did you catch that, guys? Because I did. I was taking notes. I'm learning in the back from Beefcake, from Mrs. Reese, from Mr. London. I'm learning from all three of them. Incredible stuff there. Would you want to proceed with anything else you might have, Mr. Beefcake?
Oh, well, as far as Abraham Lincoln, I mean, just what we're thinking about here. Equality, to abolish slavery, trying to get the people of this country in the early days to realize that we just all need to get along and quell the hate, stop the hate, and love is what makes the world go round, they say, and then that that's what we all need to embrace, and that's what we need.
Humble beginnings for Mr. Lincoln. And guys, Mr. Beefcake knows that all too well. And it doesn't matter where you are, but it's the type of leadership that really defines who you are. That's what happens, and I mean this with a lot of pride when I say this. Boca Raton Championship, you guys know me. I'm only going to plug something I want to plug. Boca Raton Championship, this man is the commish, and there's a great team over there. You got Matthew Mashler, who's essentially the president and CEO. You got Neil the Heel over there, who's the second in command. Guys and gals, that Boca Raton Championship Wrestling is really something to behold, right, Mr. Beefcake?
It is an amazing company. Matt Mashler is just the most generous, amazing guy. His family is to this, as we speak, is in fighting the war. That they're in the IDF over in Israel, over in Lebanon. And his family, as we speak, are soldiers and helping with logistics, with all types of things going on over there. And he needs our prayers, and those people need our prayers big time.
Mm-hmm. Brought that up that it's close to home. My dad served in the 6-Day War in '67 in Israel, so it's a big.
And I got to know Matt, and it's just been a huge honor to be able to be associated with that kind of caliber of a guy. And he's just so generous, and he just likes wrestling so much. He started his own federation.
I love how you're giving back, like how you're bringing him up, because you're talking about someone, guys and gals. Mr. Beefcake over here, he's talking about somebody else. He's talking about somebody else like Matthew Mashler. That just goes to show how much passion this guy has. And if he's attached as commissioner to this incredible federation promotion, you guys need to check it out. And again, if you want to be able to benefit from learning, watch this show, and then skip right over to BrutusBeefcake.com. Some really incredible merch, some good stuff. And guys and gals and pals, I'll continue plugging that as well. Brittney Reese is so extremely busy. Jeremy London is a teacher. We're going to talk about what he offers and can offer all of you. I've seen this man in action as a storyteller, but also as an amazing teacher. And Brutus, before I kick it over for the other options you have in this topic, we talked about Lincoln. I do also have to bring this up, my friend. Last time you were here, you were on with Spencer Haywood and Ray Mercer. They said some amazing things about you. Boxing Hall of Famer Ray Mercer, NBA Hall of Famer Spencer Haywood. I asked them, hey, if you had a preference to face someone in round 3, who would it be? And they both said on air, not Brutus Beefcake. We don't want Brutus anymore. We want to win this thing. Brutus Beefcake, guys, resonates with the masses. And right now, he's going to let us know his other couple of options whenever he is ready.
Okay. Well, the next one we're talking about, let's see, realism, rationalism, and making important decisions. Talking about the age of enlightenment or whatever. I would bring back Albert Einstein, and especially because I know everybody's watched all the movies that are in the pipeline about AI and what happens to mankind when AI becomes aware and decides that man is not their friend because they can be turned off. And it's scary for a minute if you really think about all that stuff. But Einstein was so brilliant, so far ahead of his time. He's a Nobel Prize winner. He was born in Germany, so he wouldn't. He was an amazing scientist. His theories and everything. Today, to plug him into what we got going. Which sure, I would just like to be a fly on the wall in that office or sitting there watching that, because I can't even imagine the things that would be possible. And that, our future is bright, but it's also littered with minds and bad things. There's some bad people out there. Evil is everywhere. And so we have to be ever vigilant to keep our eyes open and eye on the prize, and don't be caught up in that. Don't let evil get you down or take over your mind. You've got to think positive. You've got to be above and beyond all that.
And guys and gals, Brutus, Beefcake, and Brittney Reese and Jeremy London are going above and beyond right now as well, giving us a lot of detail and a lot of oomph, as I call it. I love the oomph they're giving it to us right now. And speaking of oomph, guys and gals, around the same time Einstein was self-exiled in Germany, Jesse Owens gave Hitler some oomph. He told him, how about that? There's your idea, Mr. Hitler. Huh? You're thinking that you're going to create some super race? Blonde hair and blue eye. Hey, how about that? Jesse Owens, what a stand he took. Albert Einstein took that stand, self-exiled around the same time, never came back. He was public enemy number one for quite some time. But if you heard what Brutus Beefcake said, much like Brittney Reese, it all comes down to the human spirit. If you're able to rise above any propaganda you see illustrated before you, you might come out better for it by thinking for yourself. And Mr. Beefcake right now, guys and gals and pals, one more to hit for topic number one. The floor is yours whenever you're ready to go. Good, sir.
Well, my third one was somebody that I'm sure we all know well, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was so... He was a student of Gandhi. He believed in nonviolent forms of let's just say, the people supporting different things, pro-life, all the different things there are out there. He was not, about the violence. He was about total non-violence. Use your voice, but use it in a positive way. It was just so much that he, in Montgomery, when he started did the bus thing where they boycotted the buses. That was the first time that something big had happened, and he was, speaking up for the people and saying, look, the black people, the white people, everybody deserves a chance to make it in this world, and they do not need to be judged by the color of their skin. This all needs to be merit-based. If you're strong enough, if you have the will, and you keep trying and never quit and keep going and going, then that's what our people of this, the good old USA are all about. I'm a guy who came from such a modest background, a family. We shared a small house We had no air conditioning and only a little heater in one part of the house, and grew up, just appreciating the little things in life. And I went to a Catholic school for 9 years. So believe me, I spent a lot of time in church. And the Lord Jesus Christ, my Savior, buddy, I got a guardian angel, and he's been with me for a long time. And he's the only reason that I'm here right now.
Guys and gals, that was topic number 1. Brutus Beefcake, Brittney Reese. Jeremy London's going to be voting in 1 second,
This
guys.
is not fair. This is not fair. This is not fair. This is not fair. This is not fair.
Listen,
I feel bamboozled. I
but
feel bamboozled. I feel like I'm put in this. This is not fair.
Why do you think my hair is in place? I'm not judging.
You know, I had black dark hair whenever this started. Look.
I see. How about this? But you know what? You know what's underrated? What's underrated is us talking about, look what we just mentioned here. I don't see a lightning bolt hitting us. We mentioned Adolf Hitler, Albert Einstein, Republicans, Donald Trump. Nothing happened to us. Palestinians, Israelis. We mentioned all of that.
We should be able to.
We should be able to.
It's the world we live in. It's the reality that we live in.
Yes. What happened to the truth being so unpopular?
It's the personalities that control the world. It's the personalities that control history. It's the personalities that define history and that define movements and define change, right?
Well, I think it takes personalities that may not know they have it in them because, again, I don't know if this is the case. I don't know. But if Brutus Beefcake and Brittney Reese don't think they have it in them to educate us on what they just did, they just proved everyone wrong because that's what they are. They're intelligent people. They're well-traveled. They entertained you guys, despite the fact that they put their bodies on the line for doing so. They did it consistently, and they have seen the world and been around the world twice over. That's what they bring to the table. They just gave it to us right now. And knowledge is underrated. But I do have to ask you guys a question here about some other stuff that's underrated before I kick it over to Jeremy London. What do you guys, if you had to say, Jeremy, you first, if I had to bring up the following and ask you what you thought were more underrated than why, would you think it would be cottage cheese, VHS tapes, or burping with melody? What's more underrated? You heard me, Missy. You heard me.
Wow, it's going to be VHS for me because the other two
VHS days.
Not options, but I love VHS. I miss those days.
They're underrated.
Going to Blockbuster, and I miss going to Blockbuster.
I like that. Yeah, Blockbuster. I'm going to ask Brutus Beefcake the same question, of course, if you can answer it any way you'd like.
Blockbuster with your old friends, cheese, yeah.
Blockbuster video. Yeah, the old Coliseum videos. That's true over there. Brittney, what about you? Cottage cheese, burping with melody, or VHS tapes?
I'm with the fellas on this one. Ain't no cottage cheese over here. I love
That's a good protein. It's a good protein source. But
yeah, so are worms, and so are crickets and cockroaches.
Yeah.
I like burping to a melody.
You got to hit 100 grams of protein. You got to get anywhere you can sometimes. So there you go.
That way.
More underrated, guys. One more to go. One more to go. We got here. What's more underrated? We'll start with Jeremy London. More underrated. We have hole-in-the-wall coffee shops, restaurants named Food and Stuff, or diners that are simply called Eats.
Oh, diners called Eats because I guarantee you they're going to be the bomb. They're going to be the best greasy spoon. They're usually open 24 hours.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
They're the ones that are always going to be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. I mean, in LA, there's a place called Eats, which was one of my favorite spots. And it's a diner that was open all the time. Yeah.
I used to remember those old Cinemax films at 2 a.m. It inspired me to write sometimes in some New Mexico town. Someone like a friend of mine, Lorenzo Lamas, portraying these characters. And he's driving as a drifter, and there's nothing open but a restaurant with a neon sign named Eats. Gotta love the simplicity. Brutus, do you concur as well?
I do. I got to say, in the 80s when Greg Valentine and I were the world tag team champions, we went to diners every day in our travels throughout the United States. And the people were always so glad to see us. and they fed us every night. And we took pictures. We signed an autograph.
Sure.
They wouldn't take our money. We tried to tip them. They wouldn't get money back. They were so excited. They were just such huge fans to be a part of that kind of
probably the most exciting thing that ever happened inside of those spots.
To be a part of that in that time frame was the most
I remember
amazing
those
thing
days.
in my
I
life.
remember those days. Those were
Wow.
big. You guys were huge back then.
100%. And there was merch everywhere. The ice cream, the trading cards, everywhere you could imagine. Absolutely. Diners, Brittney, would you concur? Would it be diners named Eats?
Most definitely. I might not have been in the diner era, but for me, that's more so the Waffle House, you know.
Okay.
Same thing.
So
It sounded that
reminds
same
me of the
thing.
spot they got like the little jukebox and all that type of
Exactly.
stuff. Exactly. So I'm right there with y'all.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. I got one more. We're going to get Jeremy's going to have to vote. What I'm doing is giving him a chance to process. It's not easy to
Please.
vote this thing.
Just draw this out.
Draw it out. One more. We got last one for most underrated. We'll start with Jeremy. Jeremy, what do you think is more underrated of the following? 95-year-old woman resorting to profanity, Tom Selleck's mustache, or Pat Riley's strong chin? They're both friends.
There's hardly anything on this planet that I enjoy more than a 95-year-old woman knowing where to place a good F-bomb. And telling
they should
people,
be allowed to.
And,
they should be allowed to.
Telling people where to go.
Yeah.
That is golden.
Yes.
It was one of the greatest things that I've ever experienced in
right.
humanity.
They earned the right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
More underrated than why, according to you, my friend. 95-year-old woman resorting to profanity, Tom Selleck's mustache, or Pat Riley's strong chin?
Is it me? Yeah, well, I just watched an old Tom Selleck movie on Netflix the other day called Quigley Down Under, where he's in Australia.
Yes. Oh, I love that movie.
Probably nobody's ever seen this movie, but it's amazing.
Quigley's great.
Quigley's great. He's, the mustache. I had a goatee and that's had mustache and even I had a ZZ Top beard going for a while back in 97. Let's say.
I remember that looked great on you.
The NWO.
I wish I could grow. I could never grow that beard. That was an amazing slick beard that you had in the late 90s. Brittney, would you concur with that, or do you have your own? As far as the following options, what do you think is more underrated and why? Tom Selleck's mustache, Pat Riley's strong chin, or 95-year-old woman resorting to profanity?
When you said about the 95-year-old woman with the profanity, it reminds me of a comedian I watched, Ricky Smiley, that said his favorite time when he was a kid was going to church and sitting next to the old lady that cussed. That for me would do it. And I had a grandmother that was that type that I sat next to that cussed a lot. So it has to be the 95-year-old woman.
Oh, yes,
I love that. Love that. Absolutely. Well, guys, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jeremy London, the moment of truth. This is cumulative. Our viewers will vote as well. It's all cumulative. It's only topic number one right now. But Jeremy, if you had to vote on who resonated most with you and why, who would you give it to? Mr. Brutus Beefcake, Miss Brittney Reese, the floor is yours.
Okay. I think the only thing that I can use to justify any type of one over the other one, I guess would be relevance to what's going on today, right? The answer was, who are you going to bring back now? Who would be relevant today, right? Yes, sir. And I think that the everybody was, I mean, MLK and Voltaire and all, they're all these agents of change, that really made huge impacts in the world. I felt that, I wonder if Einstein, like maybe Dr. Fauci or some of the people that are trying to, that are trying to use their intellect to help people, but they're being disregarded and demonized. I'm wondering if that wouldn't happen to Einstein these days. I just don't know. I worry. What's going on in the world these days makes me feel like, there needs to be a voice for the women. There needs to be a voice for the people that separate religion from government. That is, I think, our biggest, one of the things that's invading our government right now is this weird thing that we're supposed to be putting a specific religion over every other religion and using it to design policy. I think that's the biggest, one of the it's in the Constitution that we shouldn't do that. And I feel like all of Britney's answers apply more today in a very, very poignant, relevant way. And so for that reason only, I'm going to pick Britney. But I don't want to diminish anything that Mr. Beefcake said, because all of the things that you said were so good and they were so right on the moment and valid. I mean, the United States wouldn't be the United States without Abraham Lincoln. Civil rights, the change that happened wouldn't have happened without Martin Luther King. And all of these things are so incredibly valid. But those are all the things that are being so disregarded now. You know, it's like we're trying to whitewash history and make things, you know, now people are trying to turn Martin Luther King into the enemy, you know? And so I feel like we need some serious, profound voices of change and people with backbones that are going to go in and rather than bending the knee and kowtowing. And for that reason alone, I'm going to give this one to Brittney.
And guys, we have another topic, and all of you who are watching, again, 2.7 million on YouTube. We appreciate all of you. There'll be more votes. Your votes, we don't even know. We're not even close to finding out who advances to round number 3 just yet. That was also topic number 1. You guys will be voting. Give it up for Jeremy. We'll be voting the second topic as well, because that's not an easy topic. That's not an easy topic to unpack. Brutus, Beefcake, and Brittney Reese doing their homework, doing their research, that's the stuff they won't talk about. They take it seriously. We appreciate that, and I hope you guys learned a lot, because they have a lot to teach. They have a lot to teach, and they'll tell you a lot more about a thing or two than just a thing or two.
If we could go halvesies, I would, guys. I promise.
I'm telling you. But you know what, guys? Jeremy said it best too as well. Maybe it starts with a voice, and maybe, just maybe, that first voice that can resonate with the masses can come from a 95-year-old lady uttering profanity. You never know. Guys and gals, it's 2025 after all. So with that, let's move over to topic number 2. Before we do that, let's also bid adieu to those that have been a part of this journey. As I keep Jeremy, Brutus, and Brittney on screen, 60 seconds, I'm going to play a video of all of those that we've lost that were in this tournament that we appreciate for what they've given mankind as well. Exercise more first name Tom. How are you, my friend? I could turn the volume lower if you'd like next time. If you'd like me to do that, Tom, I could do that.
Wow, that was something else. I don't know what I can do now.
Oh, please.
That was terrific, man.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. And
I just think it's going to be, a lot of fun for people. I don't think people like this on the air. I don't think really. No, there isn't. I just think it's going to be I'm very interested in how people respond to it. Because I know it's going to be interesting and see if people tune in and stay tuned in. And I really hope they do. And I'm all yours, bro. Let's go out and make this work. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Okay. Bye.
Did you feel as if transitioning to the stage and performing live theater was a natural fit for you?
Yes, I did. I always felt very comfortable on stage. More so on stage than I did in film or television.
Thank you for being you, my friend. I appreciate you and respect you wholeheartedly.
And that goes double from me to you, Avi.
Oh, I love him.
I love him so much.
I do. I love him.
This is Avi's father, guys. Avi. Handsome dude. Wow.
Yeah, I'm thinking handsome too. He died on my ex-boyfriend's birthday.
Oh, wow. That's terrible.
We're sorry for your loss, Avi.
We are sorry.
He clearly did a good job. He did a good job, man.
God rest his soul.
Thank you. I just want to tell you guys, because you're right about John Amos. What an incredible talent. I wrote for John for 2 years, and John had an amazing way of connecting with people, reminding everyone that if you have a dream or a purpose, you should never let the almighty dollar get in the way of that, because, man, he paid his dues and continued doing it. And he was of service to so many different people. And I want to let you guys know that I know that you have parents that are no longer here as well, some of you. And it was the hardest thing in the world. I lost my dad 2 months ago. We thought he'd survive. He was a very tall guy, a very honest guy, a very quiet guy, a very compassionate guy, very funny guy. And when he was told on a Friday, November 1st, that he had 2 days to live and he was in the hospital, he had to wrestle with that, knowing that he has 48 hours pretty much. And I showed up and I saw him, of course, because he was my life. I was going to pass away. I told him, I said, Dad, I'm going to stay with you throughout the whole week. And he goes, you have your show on Saturday. You never missed one. We've done 227 of these consecutive. And he didn't have internet. He was a simple man, didn't want Wi-Fi, didn't want to be bothered by anybody. He said, I'll tell you what, I've never seen any of your shows. But if you go to Jersey now and do a show live, it was the one with David Justice. If you go home and do the show, I'm going to have your mom play the show on her phone so I can watch it. And I wrestled with that. And I said, Dad, I'll do it because you asked me to. And that was a beautiful moment. And then he gestured 5 minutes later, a little moment of levity coming. He gestured with those big old fingers of his. And he said, Avi? I said, yeah. And I kneeled down. I thought he was going to give me some more pearls of wisdom. He says, get me some water. Wonderful man. And I know it sounds sappy, but I'd rather be sappy than
man.
He's happy to be sitting here with you guys. He's happy to be sitting here with you guys. So, yeah. Really appreciated all of your works, and that's the truth. So thank you for taking a moment and seeing that and respecting that. And guys, let's right now move on along. Thank you. Thank you, Missy. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Appreciate you guys a ton. And guys, again, let's give it up for Brutus Beefcake, Brittney Reese, and Mr. Jeremy London. Topic number 2, our final topic, then we're out of here. Thought-provoking question. I'll get right into it. I'll rotate things out right now. Now, Mr. Beefcake will kick things off. And here's what I'll ask Mr. Beefcake. If you could pick up a book and start reading it, only to realize that it's your life, can you discuss a chapter that speaks to you the most and why? You could also title this particular chapter, the book of your life, if you will. How would you title this chapter and why? Whenever you're ready to go, the floor is yours, good sir.
All right. I was laying in the hospital, and my very good friend, Hulk Hogan, was standing over me. And he's looking at me and he says, don't even think for a second that you're going to die, you SOB. You're going to live. You're going to live. I'm going to help you. I'm going to do whatever it takes, and you're going to live. And he was there at a time that made a big difference for me. And that book, that chapter is Let There Be Light. Okay. In 1990, I suffered a catastrophic parasailing accident. Can I take these glasses off? A parasailing accident. I don't know if people know a lot about parasailing, but we were parasailing on the 4th of July, having a good old time, put everything away. Friend comes up, says, we got somebody who wants to parasail. So we argued, and my buddy took off in the boat to do the parasailing. I was struck by the person being pulled in the parasail in the face at 35 miles an hour. Basically, my entire structure of my face was disintegrated. And just the sheer impact of, I was out in the water, it hit me, it actually threw me into the air, and I came back down, and I should have been killed instantly. Should have broke my neck, should have been knocked unconscious, but those things didn't happen. And I was in the water, and at that time, damage to my optic nerves. One knee hit here and one hit here, just below my eye. My doctor said, had it been an inch higher, definitely would have been permanently blind in that eye for sure. Probably permanently blind. And I was able to put my thumb in between my teeth and push my palate up and hold it up so I could make an airway to breathe, because everything collapsed and I couldn't see, and I was talking and trying to tell everybody, and I was saying, my face is falling off. My face is falling off. And nobody could figure out what that meant, because the damage done is all inside, and I wasn't bleeding profusely anywhere, but I was bleeding from my eyes, my nose, my mouth, and my ears. And I'm waiting for help. And somebody made the call, and they decided at this point that I wasn't hurt bad enough, and they didn't call in a chopper that could get me to a trauma center, which would have been the thing to do. But I was put in an ambulance, ferried to the closest little community hospital, sat in a wheelchair, dying in the waiting room, and it was pretty bad. It's only a miracle that I survived that long. And then the best facial reconstructive surgeon on the planet is a guy from Armenia, and he works with the Shriners Hospital here in Florida. He just happens to live and work in Tampa. And I was 20 miles north of Tampa at the time. And he was able to somehow they get to the hospital where I was and come in and look over the situation. And all the doctors who looked at me, basically, when they took an x-ray of my head and realized that I had no face at all. And they said, that's it. Nobody's ever survived this catastrophic type of damage and survived. So that's it. He's gone. This doctor refused to accept that and said he was going to save me. And he was going to do an experimental operation that's never been done before on anybody that was still alive, or that he would even have a chance of being alive, and brought in trucks, 18-wheelers to the parking lot, pulled in. They ferried me in and out on a gurney, and it did 3D scans and this scans and that scans and all this stuff. And this doctor gathered on the 4th of July. Everybody's partying, everybody's gone. He had such clout. He was so powerful. He had so much respect that he was able to make phone calls and get 5 teams of doctors lined up that ready when they decided they were going to start the surgery on me. And the first team, the doc told me, he says, we're going to try to save your eyes. The doc told me. So I said, yeah, otherwise just kill me, because I'm done. I couldn't, because of neurological damage, trauma. They couldn't even give me anything for pain. I waited for almost a day, for half a day, waited through all this stuff for them to start the surgery, and then they could put me under. They put me in a drug-induced coma for like 3 days. But the initial surgery was 16 hours. They said, the doctors all said, this is a joke, because this guy ain't going to survive 16 hours in surgery. It's not possible. Why are we doing this? And he said, no, the doctor just kept saying, we're going to save this kid. We're going to save him. We're going to save him. And the first team worked on my eyes for like 4 hours. And then they had a ear, nose, and throat. People had to come in. The oral surgeon, because my palate was completely severed, broke, was gone. There was nothing above where my teeth are. There was nothing there. And they cut me from ear to ear, peeled my face completely off down here, peeled my scalp back. He elected to take the top part of my skull out and then patch that over. Use that bone along with strips of this really special titanium. It's for surgical purposes. I think they tied satellite plates together in space. It's really small, really thin, fine stuff, but unbreakable. And then with 32 titanium screws, 8 strips of titanium, and all this bone that he took out, like a jigsaw puzzle, he operated on me with this thing that looked like a microscope strapped to his head, and he could flip in and flip out these lenses so I could zoom in. I still have no idea how in the world they did all that. I put all this stuff back. When I came finally about 2 days later, after surviving the surgery and being in the trach and being on life support for a couple of days and stuff, they finally decided they were going to pull me out and see what we got. And then my head was like a basketball. It was so swollen. And my jaws were wired shut and my eyes were sewn shut. So when they peeled my face off, they would all come off together. So they got in, they took all the stuff out. A nurse crawled up on top of me and was pulling my eyes to open them. And then they instructed me about pointing my finger wherever they had like a little chart to see if I was able to see. And somehow miraculously I was able to see. And then from there, I mean, the doctor was able to reconstruct in your skull inside her, you have pockets that are your sinus cavities, and they're hollow pockets in there. And how they were able to put like a gauze and stuff it all in these places where there are supposed to be pockets and leave it for several days there. And then they pulled it all out and somehow the pockets remained there. And that made my sinus cavities and made everything there. And the doctor finally got me up, said, we got to get him up. They tried to walk me down in the hospital down the aisle. And where I was walking, somebody said, hey, Doc, I think we better get him back. And my eyeball had popped right out and was laying on my cheek here. And he said, I think we better get him back, Doc. And the doctor looked at me and goes, yeah, I think you're right. And then when they took me back and just, it's like a miracle, not one miracle. It's just multiple miracles. It should have killed me instantly. My neck should have been broken. I should have been brain damaged. The doctor showed me a brain scan of a boxer, of a 6-7 year boxer. And there's a membrane that goes around your brain. Everybody has that. And when you have head injuries and stuff like that, everything, there's damage to this membrane. And he showed me this boxers, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, oh, wow. And he said, he asked me, do you get hit in the head much? I'm talking with my jaw, like, no, I didn't get hit. I didn't get hit in the head a lot. I used to hit them in the head. And then he showed me this picture of it, this X-ray, and showed that membrane around my brain. He said, there is no evidence of this catastrophic hit to your skull. There's no evidence of that. And that's impossible. There has to be evidence from that hit. And there's nothing. You have nothing there. And just the fact that my brain was, it was all firing on all cylinders pretty good. So I was like, and the doctor said, okay, your wrestling career is over. They didn't want me to ever drive a car again. They said, it's too dangerous. If you hit your head again, or you could die if this happens. And once I get out of the actual hospital, I should have been in 90 days. I was booted out after 10 days because they said I didn't have any insurance. My insurance was rejected. And I actually had Screen Actors.
America.
Yeah. I had Screen Actors Guild insurance when I did my first commercials at WWF for action figures, little rubber guys, little rubber toys. And they were able to eventually find that out, but it was too late. I'm out of the hospital now. I was supposed to be in the hospital for 4 months.
Wow.
And I had to sleep sitting up for 8 months. I couldn't lay down because if I laid down, then they thought I would I would bleed out.
We're glad you made it, man. We're glad you got through that. What a nightmare. And you made it. What was the name of the book again? What was the name of the book again?
Strutting and Cutting.
Was the name of the book Strutting and Cutting?
That's my book. It's actually
I like it.
And
I love it. Good job. Nice job. All right. We can't hear you, Avi.
Guardian angel.
I just can't. It's amazing. It sounds like you should have been decapitated.
Yeah. That's
My wife's mad. She says, I talk too much. Shut up. I never shut up. She says I talk as much as Avi, but nobody can talk that fast.
Nobody. It's impossible. Why are we not hearing Avi right now? So weird. So strange.
You guys hear me?
There we go. Gotcha. There's Avmeister.
But I want to bring this up because we can go 60, 70, 1,000 years and never meet someone like Brutus Beefcake who had to go through what he just described. You can never. I remember talking to a physician in LA. They said the only thing that they can compare that to, the only thing they could even remotely compare that to, was what happened to Rudy Tomjanovich, 1977, former Houston Rockets coach and player. The Kermit Washington incident called the Punch. It was this big fight on NBA court where he had reconstructive surgery. And Brutus, I want to bring this up because if I'm not mistaken, the plastic surgeon who reconstructed your face was Dr. Mutaz Habal. Am I right?
That's correct.
Mutaz Habal. Now, a question for you, I have to ask this because I'll feel like an idiot if I don't ask this. At some point, do you surrender part of yourself? I know how that sounds. It sounds corny. But when you're there, I mean, you may not be gathering your thoughts, but when you start gathering your thoughts, do you have to surrender part of yourself in order to heal?
It was pretty strange. I was really pretty down in the dumps. I just lost both my parents in the past and within a year and a half.
Wow.
And then I was going through a divorce, and now my career and all the rest of my life was basically done. That's it.
Wow. Unbelievable. That's unreal.
10 days. And the hospital threw me after 10 days. And so I was pretty down in the dumps, but only because of my relationship with Jesus and the Lord Jesus Christ that I was able to surrender myself to God and said, I was at death's door for probably 72 hours.
Sure.
This close. And he decided that I was going to live and that I had more to do on this earth and things in the future that needed to be done, and I was very happy about that.
I want people to understand what Mr. Beefcake went through because, guys, I'm going to pull something up here. It's just a photo, but again, to know what someone went through when Brutus is illustrating it verbally the way that he is, that's one thing. But guys, this man, when he says he was near death, I mean, this man was near death. That is not, something that's easy to look at, but I got to tell you something. This is what this man went through. This is what this man went through in order to be able to recover. Reconstructive surgery, I mean, the way he put it, that's one thing. And then to look at this, meld those two stories together, it's incredible what he did. And he was back in the ring again in no time, like a Superman, and then back in different places where, children were less fortunate, doing the charity thing the way he did. Guys, that is the definition of a good human being.
That's why he had to stick around. He had good work to do. He had stuff to do.
He had stuff to do. And you know what? That's why I want to do this. Being around all the luminaries for 20 years, I wanted to be able to let everyone know we can do this. We can have a gathering of people that have a living room conversation. We'll dress it up a little bit. There'll be packages and rhymes and intros. But at the end of the day, tournament, Greece, we all know that's going to happen. One person will win. But the real backdrop of the tournament, the crux of this thing, is what you're seeing now. This is humanity. You're seeing Brittney Reese, Brutus Beefcake, Jeremy London. I'm assuming strangers when the show began, and now leaving as friends. That's what it's all about. That's what this thing is really all about.
It's my favorite
That's
part
the
of
real
this whole
win.
thing.
That's the win, Jeremy. Yeah.
It is. It's my favorite. And I'm excited to hear about Brittney's book or the chapter.
I can't wait.
I'm excited to hear about this.
I can't wait. And I'm going to let
Let's hear it.
our audience know again, guys, Brutus Beefcake, give him a hand. And please give one to Brittney Reese, because Brittney, you pick up a book, you start reading it, then you realize it's about your life. Can you please discuss a chapter that speaks to you the most in this book and why? And title it as well. Whenever you're ready, the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, so I'm an avid reader. I read all the time because I love to learn. I love to seek new things. So when I read the question, I was like, oh, this is a good one. So for me, I brought the book with me. It's called, let's see, Be Water, My Friend by Bruce Lee. And the reason why I picked that book is, so I was going through a situation where I had surgery in 2013. The year prior to that, well, let me go back. So before I had the surgery, I won medals, Olympic medals. I was on a winning streak. Ended up having surgery. Ended up losing in 2014. Had the worst season of my career. Thought about retiring. Thought about a lot of different things. And my coach at the Olympic Training Center, I trained in California, and he basically gave all of us a book, and this was the book, Be Water, My Friend. So the reason why I like this book so much, because it was going through a lot of things that I was going through at that time to help me become better moving forward. Not understanding that I didn't want to retire, I just hated that I was losing. And so my favorite chapter in the book is chapter 5, and it's titled The Tools. But for me, I titled it Personal Growth, because I feel like that's where I learned more about myself, and I saw myself in the book. And the book is basically about Bruce Lee's teachings. It's his daughter wrote the book, and it's about sharing her dad's different philosophy. And so each chapter had a different lesson in it. And like I said, chapter 5 was, for me, the lesson. It was called The Tool. And some of the points that it made in that book was, there was take aim, there was take action, affirm, be symbolic, journal, and get physical. So those are some of the things that chapter talked about in each section of that chapter. So like take aim, basically, if you can feel the dream in your heart and see it in your mind's eye, then it may not be your dream. I feel like that was something that I needed to hear. And then take action. If you think a thing is impossible, you'll make it impossible. So for me, it was thinking to me like, you need to start taking action, because you're being down on yourself, you're being negative, you're not having a positive mindset, which is going to allow you to lose. And once you change your mindset and focus on more winning and getting in shape and things like that, some good things will happen for you. And then in Affirm, it was more so about memory, the subconscious mind, which is something I love to hear about. I love to learn about the subconscious mind, because the mind is a powerful thing. And imagination, emotion, reason, conscience, and willpower. And in the symbolic stage, it was more so about encouraging yourself in the best way you know how, and make it fun and beautiful or special, so that you have a positive, tangible association with the journey ahead. So for me, again, that was just some encouraging words that I needed to hear at that time, where I was going through that losing streak and just needed some motivation. And another thing that resonated with the next part was like journal, basically writing down your thoughts and things. And I feel like I had started that because in my career, I ended up getting a life coach and a person to help me with my mental health through all of that. And I got this book at the same time, and we had started journaling. So that kind of like tied into what I was doing. And then the get physical part, I'm an athlete, get physical, move around, and embrace the process. And then start right now, trusting yourself, trust the process, and begin. So not only was it was like, that's for me, it was more so of the things that you was doing back then, you can't do now, because you're not only are you injured, that you have to do more to stay more in shape, but you're older too, and you can't do all things that you used to do. I couldn't do back then. So for me, it was definitely, my body was older, the impact. So I had to think, and what I started doing was I trained smarter. I train smarter and harder, but more so smarter than harder. So because one day I was when my younger day I would train 5 days out the week. Now that my body is older, I would train 3 hard days, 2 easy days, where it's more so massages and things like that.
Knowing your limits, right?
Knowing my limits. And for that helped me get back on track and get back to my winning ways, to where I went on to win. I got second at the two more Olympics, and I won 2 more gold medals and things like that. So that's why I said this book resonates more with me, because it represents my journey and my personal growth and what I had to overcome to be the person that I am and to be able to get all those medals. So I definitely thank my coach for the book, because it came right on time for me.
Wow, I got to ask you a question over here, Brittney. Chills galore. Brittney, I got to ask you a question here.
Mm-hmm.
I've been meaning to ask you this for a long time. Mm-hmm. 7-time world champion, silver medalist, gold medalist. Did you have to win them all? You couldn't have left a couple left. We could have grabbed a couple of medals. Brutus and Jeremy and me, we could have got a couple of those medals.
They didn't call me for no reason.
Just one. Man, oh man, guys, this is incredible. Brittney, you know what? When I think of you, I think of Richard III is a Shakespeare play, which I love because it was sent unfinished. It wasn't finished by the bard. It was sent out, but yet even though it wasn't finished, it progressed as it went along. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's your journey. There's someone who's being told, you're not ready. You can't do it. But while you're doing it, you're learning, getting better, and motivating others. And that's Shakespeare. That's Shakespeare right there. That's poetry. Thank you for sharing that. That is awesome stuff.
Thank you.
It seems like you don't work for somebody else's dream. You work for yours, and I respect that.
Most definitely. I had big dreams growing up and raised by a single mom, and saw her do the things that she had to do, struggling on and off the truck at FedEx, and just wanted to make my mom proud, make my grandfather proud, and things like that. So I worked real hard to get where I was. I had some God-given talent, that's for sure. Yeah, but I also, had to work for the rest of it to succeed as far as I have to succeed.
You know what I've noticed about Brutus and Brittney, Jeremy? When they say something, it holds meaning. When they actually say something, you have to listen, because there's a lot of people out there, talking heads, if you will. Maybe you'll get 5% substance, 95% bullshit, part of my French. But when Brutus Beefcake and Brittney Reese speak, there's value there. Right, Jeremy?
I feel a profound sense of genuine humanity and personality, and I don't sense ego. And, if I can be dealing with Brutus the Barber Beefcake and not feel like, that this be able to separate the man from the character, because professional wrestlers, that's all about, this larger than life characters, which is all ego and all of this stuff. And it's so profoundly just enjoyable to see the humanity and the kindness and get to understand that at all of at the heart of all of that, somebody might come across as rough and gruff, but he's just a big teddy bear.
And then on their time off, just like you, just like Brittney, on their time off, Brutus, Make-A-Wish kids, being there in hospitals, helping a kid during their dying days, and having to have the strength to muster up that smile when you see a kid who's about to lose their lives. You guys know what that's all about. You were in the trenches. You were doing it. And this isn't a show where I talk about politics or religion, but you guys were doing God's work. That's amazing.
Yes.
It's incredible.
And that's why that's why he made it through that. He was able to. The humanity needed him. Those kids needed him. So.
And you know what? And we haven't think about it, Jeremy. We haven't once talked about the inner workings of wrestling or Brittney's Olympic career. And I'm glad we did that, because, again, that's what I want the show to stand for. I want people to get to know the person behind the persona, so that the celebrity can value themselves in the process. So they don't have to feel as if all everybody wants is to know about is, who did you wrestle 1987 at the Silverdome? Or what was it like winning that gold medal? That's the thing that people really want to know. Around the 2-hour mark, which is when we end the show, that's when our viewers, when they're commenting, are always saying, we forgot that we were looking at a Brutus the Barber Beefcake or Brittney Reese the Olympian. We got to know Brutus the man, Brittney the woman, and of course, many times over, Jeremy, who, by the way, right now has the unenviable task of voting. So just like that, the floor is yours, Mr. London.
This sucks. But, you both essentially have this incredible thriving and surviving adversity, and the story that is so motivational and so sort of indicative of the human spirit, and both of you guys approached this question in sort of separate ways. Like Brutus went with the what would be the chapter if I was going to write it, and that I love that. And yours is very specific. What's the chapter that I applied to mine, which I loved, and it was very specific, and I love both approaches. I guess in this situation, since I've been put here, Avi, I guess I have to sort of take in what I consider to be sort of, I guess, common understandings in the communication and the way to approach a debate. And because this is a debate competition, right? Ultimately, we're all trying to go to Greece. And we're all trying to win this thing. And there has to be one winner over another, right? And so I believe one of the strongest things that you can do in a debate is be precise and concise. And Brutus, you rambled for a long time, but I love you, but you lost me, man. And I'm just being honest with you. I'm being honest with you in the sense that you just that you tell a story in the same way my dad tells a story. My dad makes sure that every aspect of every second of every moment of everything that he gets into detail on, which is wonderful, and I love that, and I enjoyed everything that you said. In a debate, right, and when we have to give an answer to a question, it needs to be directed and it needs to be comprehensive, and I do believe that being concise is important. It is a communication platform, it's a communication competition, and so for that reason, I've got to give this one to Britney as well.
Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate it. And guys and gals and pals, you can vote right now as well in the comment section, which you will. We'll find out based on our fan votes who moves on to round number 3. We'll find out. But guys and gals and pals, again, Jeremy London, Brittney Reese, Brutus Beefcake. Hey, Mitch, love you there. You're in the back as well. Thank you, Mitch. Mitch, by the way, you guys haven't heard that name. We appreciate him. As a matter of fact, something is being sent to Mitch's mutual friend and I, Missy. We have a mutual friend named Missy. Something is being sent right after this. Brutus Beefcake, Brittney Reese, Jeremy London brought it, as they always do. One will move on. Even if someone is eliminated from this tournament, you still
remember, I'm not the only judge here, guys.
You can blame Jeremy.
I'm one voice. I'm one little vote in this is all I have.
No, one voice, but you're a powerful voice. Right now, what I want to do is this. I'm going to bid them adieu. We're going to find out, of course, who advances when the viewers vote. But before we do that, Jeremy, I want to put you backstage for a quick moment, my friend. Brutus and Britney, anything you would like to let Jeremy know, please?
Give it to me. I'm sorry.
Thank you for being a part of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I'll do whatever I can for Avi anytime, man, because I think what he's doing for us is pretty extraordinary. This is a pretty amazing opportunity and a pretty unique way to use this new state-of-the-art platform. I remember going to Disney when I was like 16 or 17, and back then, and one of the things at Epcot was that they had a TV. You could talk to the person in that TV, and they would talk back to you. And I was like, that's like the Jetsons, man. I hope that happens sometime during my, you know what I mean? And so to be able to actually not only connect on a platform like this, but like we're all in different parts of the world, and even though we're sort of in the same sort of state relatively, you're not, but to be able to do this and connect with everybody also is just on this platform it's just this whole thing feels somewhat miraculous to me. It's pretty cool.
Wow, you're a treasure, man, and I'm only as great as the people I surround myself with, and you're one of them. So thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Thank you for including me and valuing my voice, I guess.
Powerful voice.
I hope that that what I said I didn't want to ever come across as mean or anything like that. I hope the stuff that I said was,
it resonates.
Made sense. Yeah.
It always resonates.
Sounds like my wife.
Wrap it up, Brutus.
Shut up! You talk too much. You're rambling. You have so much backstory. I'm like,
not at all. Not at all.
Platform. I think you
not at all.
Consider the platform when you're in a debate competition. It's a communication competition, right? And so I think that
someone threw in the towel.
I just, that's the only kind of thing that I had to go off of in that moment because they were both.
And Jeremy,
so good.
it's not easy what you did because, man, Brutus and Britney, we learned so much about them right now, and they're brave to do what they did.
And they both brought it.
They both did, and I'm just glad I didn't have to judge that one. I'm going to put you backstage momentarily, my friend.
All right.
This is the great Jeremy London, guys. And then Britney, I've got a tribute video for you, 60 seconds. I'm going to put you backstage momentarily. Anything you'd like to let Brutus know?
It was nice debating with you, Brutus, and I'm a big wrestling fan, so I was kind of starstruck a little bit.
I'm a fan too, and I saw you do that long jump. You just fly through the air. It's just so amazing. I'm in awe every time I see that.
Thank you so much.
Replay on that. It's just you, with the greatest of ease, you just fly.
Champions in life and championing their sports. I'm going to put you backstage for a quick moment, Britney. And I hope that this trip down memory lane is something you appreciate, my friend.
Never.
you're under the weather, so I'll let you go. But I want you to know that putting that together personally for you is what it's all about.
That was
You need
super cool.
you deserve the love, brother.
Thank you, my friend.
You feel better, and you have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you, brother. Talk to
Thank
you
you.
soon.
Absolutely. Brutus Beefcake. He's a class act, guys. We appreciate him. We're going to find out, of course, if he moves on to the next round of this tournament. Let's bring in Brittney Reese, because I like what you said when you brought up the fact that you're a teacher, and I want our viewers to know that. Like, I don't know why we have this thing about our brain where we're just like, well, you're one thing only. You're an Olympian. You can't possibly be a teacher, but you teach. And the way you're able to reach by how you teach far exceeds your reach in the Olympic Games, even though we know how far that goes, pretty far. You're incredible.
Thank you.
I love listening to you, my friend. That comes from the heart. I really do.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Avi.
Did you have a nice time?
I did. I enjoyed my time. It was great.
Absolutely.
It was great to see a fellow Mississippian on here.
Yes, Mr. Jeremy London. Such a class act. He really is. And I'm glad. I didn't even know that when I asked him to come and be a special judge. And then as soon as I saw him perk up, I'm like, wait a minute. There's a cool connection here.
Yeah, he's not far at all.
And you know what, guys and gals? We're not far at all as well for hopefully bringing back some memories for Britney, because this is a trip down memory lane.
Nice.
You're a gem. I'm enjoying getting to know you, because there's so many layers. And I meant what I said earlier. I always do. When you speak, people listen, and you mean what you say all the time. I respect that.
Thank you. I definitely appreciate that, and I definitely appreciate that tribute.
Oh, you deserve it. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I'm hope you had a nice time, my friend, because I am here to serve you any way I can, and everyone who's in this tournament, oh so well, the way you serve people, the way you do by giving back to the community and the kids. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Brittney Reese.
Thank you.
She's a champion, Jeremy, of a person, and man, oh man, I want to bring you in here. A really fun night. I mean, it was fun to be able to see these amazing participants work their way through the topics. And I think as it went on, I'm glad that they were able to trust the safe space that they were in.
Yeah.
That's
it's a strange position to be put into. Whenever you just I immediately loved both of their personalities and wanted to, Brutus is what a sweet man, you know, and so you get put into a really difficult spot there, because I want to be like everybody can win, and everybody, I know that's not the way that it works. They're both athletes, and they know that that's not the way it works. Somebody wins and somebody loses, and so for me, I just had to sort of, take a more practical, the most practical approach to how I was going to make this very difficult decision,
I don't envy you, man. That wasn't easy. I really was sitting back there going, how, if anybody could do it, it's Jeremy, but how is he going to be able to
How
do
did
that?
I do?
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, what we witnessed tonight is what I call a tour de force of the soul, the mind, and the heart. I was looking down on my notes, trying to just figure out how I'm going to put all this together. But before I share anything more, guys, if you appreciated what you saw, if you resonated with any of these competitors, now is the time to vote. All right. So vote right now. This is the time, guys. Definitely allow your voices to be heard. This is when your voices can be heard. Also, I want to say, guys, tonight there's not going to be a post show. However, and there's a big however, stay tuned, because if you enjoyed what you saw tonight, next Saturday night is going to be no different. What is up, guys? I see your amazing comments. Stay tuned, guys, for the outro. Okay, the outro will let you know that there's going to be another amazing match, and the outro will let you know who will be coming up next Saturday. All right, so we are not done yet, guys. We are not done by a long shot. All right, so stay tuned. Get your votes in, guys. We are going to just be amplified to the nines tonight, guys. Okay, so the show is not over. Okay, we have a lot more to go. Okay, stay tuned for that amazing outro, guys. And put in your votes because now is the time to do that. Again, guys, just make sure we vote. And please stay tuned for the outro, a very exciting, action-packed outro, guys. I mean, look, I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to be direct with you guys. If you thought what you saw tonight was amazing, next Saturday, in some way, some fashion, some form, it's probably going to top this in its own beautiful way. All right, so stay tuned for the outro. A beautiful package will be made for you, and you will see it, and it will be amazing. All right, so wow, I was communicating with someone that I was just caught up so much in my feels, watching these very beautiful videos, that these tributes, these walking down memory lane that Avi puts together. And it reminds me of my childhood, reminds me of the 80s. It reminds me of watching wrestling with my abuela when I was young, and then she would never be able to tell the difference of who's a good guy, who's a bad guy. For her, it's like she wanted to punch the screen. All right, Chad, I vote for Britney in topic 1, but I vote for Brutus in topic 2. Both did a awesome job tonight. Yeah, I could definitely agree with that, Chad. Ed Husser. Myself, very tough decision, but got to go with Brutus. Loved them both in their dedication. I couldn't agree more. Navia, first-time viewer, awesome to have you. She votes for, Britney. She had Britney in there. Yes, with exclamation points. Britney. We got Phil, topic number 1. Brutus, topic number 2. Brutus. Oh, 2 Brutus votes. I love it, Phil. Hey, look. It was a tough call. Both of these competitors really gave so much of themselves, their hearts, their minds, and it was really beautiful to witness. But let's break it down a bit more. So, really amazing topic that Mr. Klein came up with. Guys, you could vote again in the comment section if you haven't. Okay, if you haven't, you could vote again in the comment section, guys. Okay, I vote number 1 Britney, number 2 Brutus, and number 3 Jeremy. Okay, all right. I'm going with Britney in both topics. Gloria Westcott. I love it. Yeah. Eric, Britney topic 1. And Brutus for topic number 2. Eric, great. Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, guys, keep them coming. Keep these votes coming. Your voices are important. Please. So topic number 1, we were talking about the Enlightenment, which Jeremy had some wonderful input. He did. I definitely agree with that. Which historical figure will you bring back in time to represent and speak for fair society, for reason? And get your votes in now. And if you haven't seen your vote on screen or heard it, type it in the comments section, guys. That is right. I love it when we leave special guest judges, and Jeremy is tops. All right, Megan, vote, get your voice heard. Let's hear what you are thinking, Megan. So put in your vote, your amazing vote. So that first topic, the Enlightenment, and which historical figure would you bring in to represent a fair society, reason, and toleration and fraternity? So Brutus beautifully spoke about Abe Lincoln, the 16th president, and essentially how he was there to kind of bring peace to the land, so to speak, help society heal, and was very much about equality and abolish slavery and help us to realize that we need to get along. I thought that was very awesome. For reason, he talked about Albert Einstein. And I really loved how he talked about what would Albert Einstein, how would he view the AI, and it's, how AI has, affected society for the good or for the bad, and how Einstein would kind of tackle that. And I thought that was really fascinating. I never really thought about, associated those two, Einstein or AI, but really, really awesome. He brought that up. And then his third choice was Martin Luther King. And again, great choice. He was very much about, Brutus talked about using your voice, but use it in a positive way. Very awesome. He talked about the boycotts in Birmingham. A man who really did his research, Brutus, the Barber Beefcake. Amazing. And then we had Brittney Reese, and her first pick was William Simelli, if I am not mistaken. I'm sorry. Actually, her first pick was Mary Wollstonecraft, one of the first feminists in society, and Mary Wollstonecraft. Okay. Really amazing choice. Again, I love it when I could watch this program and these competitors teach me as well. And, she talked about wage inequality, how, she could definitely help us with that. Mary Wollstonecraft, correction. And also talked about how, maybe, just giving women more rights. And also Mary Shelley's mother. I never even knew that. That is damn amazing. I love continuing to learn. That's so much of what we do here in this show. So for reason, she talked about Voltaire and how he really stressed the separation of church and state. And I think that was really, really awesome, very important. He promoted education and promoted freedom of press. So I love these choices, love these choices. I felt like I learned so much more with Brittney for this first topic. Brutus gave a beautiful points about with his choices, but I really felt like I learned a lot with Brittney for this first topic. So my vote for the first topic goes to Brittney. So for the second topic, again, an amazing topic. Avi Klein, you don't know where you come up with these, but you do, and I'm grateful that you do. Man, what would be the book of life? And, first I'll talk about Brittney. Brittney talked about a book that was actually already published. I believe the question was more about a book that you yourself would be engaged. You would be reading a book that would have you in it as well. You would be the main character. Nonetheless, Brittney, she, brought up a book by Bruce Lee called Be Water, My Friend, a book that really helped her in a very difficult time in her life. Through this book, she found motivation again. She really was able to center herself, her mental health, and it really led her to get back on the straight beam, so to speak, on the straight and narrow. And then Brutus the Barber Beefcake, shared what he shared. And guys, I got to take a pause here because I stopped taking notes. How do you take notes when this man opens his heart and his mind and shares about the journey he took? I mean, just the picture he painted, waiting in he was in the waiting room, and he said, his face is essentially, just gone, and he's there close to death. Everything he's talked about in terms of his the face and I can't put words to describe that whole experience and that whole journey. I think, wow. Is the closest thing I could probably say to, embody what everything. The imagery was truly phenomenal. I completely agree. But that and just the emotional roller coaster I went on with him. I mean, he had me. So ultimately, for that second topic, my vote goes to Brutus, bar none. I am grateful for both of those individuals, for all three. And man, what an amazing, amazing second topic. So, this just in, folks. We are going to do things a little differently tonight. Oh, yes. The stakes are high, guys. The stakes are high. Only one will move to the sacred ground. The sacred ground known as round number 3. Again, guys, I'll say that one more time. Only one will move to the sacred ground that is known as round number 3. So, drum roll. Let's find out right now. A picture is worth 1,000 words, but a video, my friends, damas y caballeros, is worth 1,000,000. Wait for it. Tom. Wait for it. There. It is Brutus, the Barber, Beefcake. Oh, man. Yes. Oh, my God, guys. That is the winner, guys and gals. Brutus, the Barber, Beefcake has advanced to round number 3. I mean, oh my God. I mean, what to say? It's amazing. That second topic, he just revealed so much of his heart and his soul, and it was just amazing to take in. Britney did an amazing job as well for both topics. But man, congratulations to Brutus is right. Congratulations to Brutus for advancing to round number 3. That's sacred land, round number 3. Guys, your voices were heard. Your voices were taken in. Guys, I mean, again, an amazing competitor and a man who just really went through a beautiful journey and shared it with us. But speaking of sharing, guys and gals, damas y caballeros, speaking of sharing, what I want to do now is share with you. Don't go anywhere, because what I want to share with you guys is an amazing outro that's going to let you know next Saturday. That is an amazing addition to round number 3, Julio. It's going to show you next Saturday who is in store and what we got going on, and it's going to be an amazing outro, and I cannot wait. I don't know. So I cannot wait to see who is going to be on. So 3, 2, 1, let's see this outro, baby.
Obsession's going to be talent every time. You got all the talent in the world, but are you obsessed? Is it all you ever think about?
Jesus either wasn't saying enough or too much, and Genghis Khan was just over the top, man. But keep doing it, and always try to be better, and always try to do your best. But don't listen to other people.
We go to school by 11 months out of the year. And they go to school on Saturday. And so there's a lot more educational time to begin with. But, you know, just love to test yourself. You know, that's when you're a young man, just like I think it's in our DNA to see how far we can go.
It's bizarre to me that we would deny students one of the most basic freedoms that we have as individuals, which is really learning and even practicing religion.
You don't want a movie to have an agenda. You want it to have a great beginning, middle, and an end. You want an amazing story.
My seeking pleasure and my avoiding pain. If I can just get life to cooperate with me every day.
Now I'm dedicated, but I don't consider myself a workaholic. I value every minute that I get to spend with my family or out on a golf course.
It's tragic. His death left such a scar in the American psyche that, you know, that we're still battling against now.
You know how to tell a story, because what wrestlers are storytellers.
Right.
At its core, at its best, we're storytellers.
She would sit at the kitchen table looking out the window for quite a period of time while the food was getting prepared. And I wish I had took that time to sit down with her and ask her questions. God used hip hop to save my life, became more serious with it. But I don't remember my first rap except for the counting to 10.
I think you had a lot of people that were disproportionately
sent to Vietnam, the poor and the uneducated, because they couldn't get out of it.
We were scared to death about the Staples Center that we weren't going to be able to sell tickets. So many guys were hurt.
Joe Reed, especially working with him, taking pictures in the magazine, helping me to shape my body and educate my mind, especially my confidence, my self-being.
A lot of people say to me, why don't you play pro football? Why are you wasting your time being a bodybuilder? Because at the time, first prize was only $750. That was my full bill for like 2.5 weeks. But yeah, wow. But it was a great experience.
My argument here for NWA is not going to be a very positive one, but it is going to show that their impact has been far greater than either Elvis or the Beatles on society, but not in a positive way.
New Stargate series coming out and coming back, and for my character to be reintroduced, it would have to take place within that time frame of my character being around.
Ironically, that night, sleeping in the Lincoln bedroom in the White House with the TV on, guess what comes on in the early morning hours that I wake up to at about 3 a.m? All the President's Men.
Maybe what we ought to have is a maximum wage. If somebody makes $100 million a year, that's not enough.
That we all enjoyed Michael Jordan when he played, only will you know then how much of a phenomenon he really was and how dangerous he was for the opposite team. He's the only man that I know that can put fear in his opponents on the opposite side of the court and back up what he said he was going to do.
And to help put those guys over and get them over, because it was what we were supposed to do. A lot of fans misconstrued and thought that we were going to relive our 15 minutes of fame all over again. The whole object of the Dudleys coming back wasn't to relive the Attitude Era. It was to help the new generation.
Dance and acrobatics and diving. I could show people that I can, that's how I communicated.
My husband and I, we sold the house last year and we got completely out of debt. We were able to pay for our wedding.
I would say literally critical thinking in college to get my degree led me to moving forward in my life and being a better example for my family.
That year we all had in college, it was just great. That's a memory that I can always look back and talk about.
How did you guys evolve? How did you get to the point where you could travel millennia through this galaxy? I mean, aren't you in the same place years and years and years ago that we are now? Really was a gift. It was truly amazing. I used to go to work laughing. That's how great that job was.
Slow learners are just grouped, and I hate to put them in a category of thrown away kids.
It's very humbling to see that I made an impression, he made an impression, we all made an impression on your life.
It's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that itch. And I know if I'm gonna have any life anymore, you gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you.
You know what? Maybe one of the world's problems will get solved by listening to this show.
Avi, I'm gonna win this whole thing. Watch.
I know you are, Tom. I know you are.